Right now, we're actually going to have a group from the UN come. This is going to be a very interesting session. It's a little different than what we've been doing for the morning. It's called the Climate Slam, Adapting Now for a Resilient Future, organized by the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. So we're basically going to have you guys come and listen to this department. I'm going to let them tell you what it's all about. We're definitely going to have this moment where you guys can come and tell us about what you're doing as far as action is concerned in your communities as well. So if I can please have the person speak. You have your mic, and thank you. It's all yours.
Thanks very much, Ruth. Hi, everyone. My name is Steph. I work with the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. And we believe that you can actually reduce the risk of disasters happening, and that you can reduce the risk and the impact of disasters if they do happen. And we believe that if we get our job right, then there should be a whole lot less for the rest of the UN system to work on. There should be fewer humanitarian crises. There should be fewer conflicts. There should be fewer people affected by disasters and fewer people losing lives. We believe in tackling the big what-if questions, and that's what we want to do this afternoon. And we don't believe in tackling those questions alone. That's why there's a mic in the middle of the room. You're going to listen to some speakers. They're going to propose some big answers to some big questions. You may disagree. You may have your own comment to make or your own experience to share, and you're really welcome to do so. So make use of the mic in the middle. We're being live streamed. If you want a link, you can ask my colleague at the back. Laurel, can you wave your hands? She has a link, so if you want to send it to your family or friends and say, hi, I'm about to intervene and speak at the UN, please pass that link on. We're going to start today, as all good things do, with poetry, and it's really my pleasure to welcome Victoria to the stage. Thanks, Victoria.
I never really liked math, but to be fair, most students don't. Despite it, I'm actually pretty good at math. My mom wants me to tutor some of the younger kids in my apartment building in order to gain a little extra money, and that's not a bad idea. Here's my lesson plan. Let me know what you think. I'll start by asking the kids how many actionless years left we have before climate change is irreversible. If you didn't know, it's 11. I'd ask them how old they'll be in 11 years and expect an average answer of 22. Then I'll ask them to put the fossil fuel industry over our environment to get corporations that don't care, that can't tell sci-fi from science because they still call it global warming and they hate to break it to us, but it gets cold in the winter. And I'll tell these kids that the climate is changing faster than any constant rate of change. Y equals mx plus b got nothing on this, and they won't understand because they haven't taken algebra. But they will. Because the most I can do for them is educate them, tell them what's happening and where, that the Amazon burned for a fifth of the summer, that imagine your lungs burning with the fury of the sun and living through it all, because despite how we treat our lungs, it fights for us, and for once in our lives we should fight for it. Fight for the first glacier we lost to climate change in Iceland, for the 40,000 endangered species, for the Great Barrier Reef and the polar ice caps. Fight for the world, because I'm fighting for them. You subtract us from the equation because we're young, but we add ourselves back into the power of 10. We were never the generation that asked for war, but we're going to fight like our lives depend on it, because they do. And we know everyone hears us. You can cover your ears, but it doesn't stop you from hearing. We're the tree in the forest that definitely makes the sound. We're not screaming into the void. We're educating our younger siblings, and we're cutting out plastic. We're protesting the system that put us in this position, chanting, singing, screaming. And people are listening. The kids I might tutor will paint a picture of hopelessness. But this is where we have the most hope. We believe our voices will change things because they have. New York banned styrofoam. Renewable energy has grown more in the last 20 years than it has since ever. Germany produced more electricity with renewable energy than coal this year. A couple replanted a forest in the last 20 years. Sometimes it feels like we have nothing left to fight for. But we're left to fight for. We just need to know if you're fighting with us. Thank you.
Victoria, thank you very much. Really rousing and inspirational. I'd love if Rashulata can come up to the stage. She's going to share with us her thoughts in answer to the big question about what if youth were truly involved, and what if we could get education right around risk reduction. Grab this mic here. Thanks.
Good day, everyone. I don't really want to be here today. I truly don't. I left my home in Guyana to come here, and my friends in the Bahamas suffering. I left my close sister friend telling me about how her cousin, spoke with her brother about how he had to tell his mom about how they can make different relief and rescue kits out of basic household items. I left the Bahamas, well, my colleagues in the Bahamas who were trying to get what is actually happening in the Bahamas into the mainstream media. I believe that we can get disaster risk information out there through education, CBDRM planning, and national policy planning. This is going to be about my 10th summit. I'm tired. I don't want to be here. I wrote a book. I did a documentary. I attended a summit as late as earlier this year to say these very things, to write about it. I even have 2 jobs that deal directly with this, and we're not getting where we need to be. We've done a lot when it comes to education, but there's still so much more that we can do. We've done a lot when it comes to community-based disaster risk management, but there's still so much more that we can do. Why? My question especially, and because we were sitting there just now and having a debate about why is it that we can't get the requisite persons to help us. When I landed for this summit on Thursday, when my dad took me to the airport, he told me, "You're going to the UN, don't come back without answers." What am I going to tell him? I can't go back without answers. I think that we should give our youth the opportunity not only to be involved in planning at the national policy level, which I think is where we need to be heard. We, at least the young people in my country, we've lobbied our parliamentarians already. We've attended policy-making workshops at the community level. We've gone into schools, we've did infomercials, we've did commercials, we've did even animation projects. There's still much more that we can do. While I'm grateful for this, because it's a huge networking opportunity for us to really get in contact with other young people from other countries and so on, we really need the persons who are currently making legislation in the different countries to get in contact with us and see what is it that we can do on our platforms that we currently have. We also have places that we cannot reach on our own that we need your assistance in getting to. It makes no sense for me to come to another one if we're going to continue to do little.
Rashulata, thank you. That's a plea from the heart. You've said you've been involved in this for many years,
Yeah.
and you're tired.
Yeah.
What would give you more energy? And while you're answering this, I'm going to ask for a volunteer to give me an example of something they've seen working in their community, particularly around education examples. Anybody got some ideas? The mic is here in the middle. But firstly, what would give you the energy to do more about this?
The opportunity to not only meet with youth, but to have us congregate and meet with our world leaders and to let them know about our voices, our concerns, the specific engagement strategies that we would have had. I would have mentioned when we first met that one of my portfolio is actually engagements. I'm an engagement specialist at a French company in Guyana. So we have a lot of ideas, at least 10 on paper right now, that we can meet with them, and we would love to share with them about how we can be more strategically and sustainably involved, if we can even put it like that. Not just to come to a conference and talk about what we already know or what we can already read in a paper on the internet or something somewhere, but how we can really get involved at the grassroots level up.
Thank you. Does anyone have a comment or a question or an experience they want to share? Yeah, please, come up. Form a line behind the mic. That's great. Thanks. We'll take 3 questions from the floor.
Hi, so I don't have a question, but there was 2 girls who actually delivered a presentation at the SDG Media Zone about how they've been able to do youth engagement in Denmark and being able to actually have youth start drafting policies related to climate change and related to some of the climate and environmental issues that are affecting Denmark. So if you're interested, I took down their contact information. I can get you in touch with them because I work for the New York City Mayor's office, and I was really interested in seeing how they've been able to get the youth involved in actually writing and start drafting policies. So I was interested in that from that perspective, and I assume you'd be interested in seeing how they've been able to mobilize the youth to actually get them to the point where they're drafting policies and seeing what has worked, what hasn't worked, and so on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That
you're
is
welcome.
not an issue. Mobilizing is very easy to do, especially when you're an engagement specialist. The problem a lot of times is getting in the door. We can't do it ourselves. There's only so far that we can go. We need somebody in there who's willing to sit and listen to us.
And that's where policy plays a part. Because
Yeah,
policy
and-
is what changes the government's directions.
Yeah, and you can also learn from them as to how they were able to get people to actually show interest and actually entertain their ideas.
Thank you very much. And if you don't mind introducing yourself and where you're from before you begin your question or comment. Thanks.
My name is Rita Zaumu, and I come from Cameroon, from West Central Africa. So I just want to give some examples about the kind of action that's being taken on the ground in my country to address some of these issues. I am a graphic designer, and I'm actually working on a textbook that's going to be used in primary schools. I don't know how it's called here, but this is class 2. The kids are around 3 to 5 years old, and there's a chapter on that book that talks about environmental education. And there are these beautiful pictures of plastic waste that are filled in the different gutters around the nation. And the idea is to engage these children to already know from this young age that this is something that is bad for our planet. And there are project exercises at the end of the chapter where the children actually go on the ground to see how these things are killing animals like fish in the sea, and also to take them to farming areas in the local areas where women cultivate, and they actually burn the grass before cultivating, which is thought to actually be fertile. But the children are being educated to know that this is actually not a good practice. So from this young age, I think it's a great thing, even though the actions that we are taking are not good enough yet, but at least it's a first step towards the right direction.
Thank you.
And we know if you teach a child young, the lesson stays for life. So there's great sense in talking and working with kids to help them understand the environment, the risks they face, and then, of course, what they can do about it. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. My name's Daniel Chidubem-Buji. I work for a non-profit-based organization that raises awareness about the impact of climate change. I think this is one of the best questions that we have heard for today. It's not enough for you to go to the streets. 50 million people. Yes, it's good to call out your leaders, but we know fully well those actions are not in the streets. Those actions are in Timbuktu. Those actions are in Umuayaka, my own hometown. We need to start to tell people that there's a way we can do our climate action and marry it into social, economic narrative. That's where the problem is. Okay, if I leave my wood that I'm going to harvest in the bush, how am I going to get food to cook for my people? Some people's problems are not polar bears. Some people's problems are just to get by in the next day. Some people's problems are not the beds. The beds are not good. There's no health. They know that going to the hospital is just the final bus stop. So my organization now thought it wise. Why not we identify these problems with respect to climate change where we work and develop something? So we developed an app or a concept around an app. It's called Rep Climb. Why I'm raising about the app is because of opening the door. We've been trying to get 100,000 people to like a mobile app that can help African farmers know when to farm, when not to farm. I grew up knowing that rainfall is 10 months out of 12 months. I am in my 30s. I have not seen rainfall 10 months again. It is now 3 months. And you know in Africa, in most African countries, we are rain-fed. We even go out and do our hands like this and say the rain will come. But for some reason, they've been going out like this since 2007, and the rain is not coming. So I felt, let us identify that problem. And we designed an app using technology, because we are the digital age people. So you are right that there's need for us to open the door, but the content we give these children is also as important as the education they get. The content should be driven towards marrying the problem in their locality, seeking innovation and technology with the digital presence we have, and directing it towards sustainable development goal. That's the only way. If not, it will just be another certificate. And we'll be doing the same thing over and over again, and we'll have the outcome that we have here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take one last comment, please, on this. You ready? Let's go.
Hi, I'm Jaxie. I work with the New York City Department of Education in their Office of Sustainability. One thing that I would say to answer your question, I totally understand coming into New York City schools and trying to increase sustainability work. It's really hard because people have a lot of other things they're worrying about. And I think we can all agree that creating action when people have their own struggles of everyday life is really difficult. But one thing that I found really successful, I'm here with 2 students that are part of our Youth Leadership Council, which is a group of students that we work with that we not only talk to about climate change and sustainability and about all these environmental issues, but we really try to provide them with the leadership skills so that they can go back and help spread these ideas in their community and become engagement people just like yourself, and really engage and do the work. Because the truth is, we can't all be in a million places. So I am a big believer in not just having youth be a part of the conversation, but actually having youth be the drivers of the conversation and giving them the tools to not just have the facts, but to be able to actually get up and speak. So a lot of the work that we do is talking about how do you organize, how do you write a speech that somebody's going to be interested in listening to. And so having that be a part of the engagement work and having the education not just be about the science and the environmental concepts, but also about the ways in which they can keep the work going in your school, in their schools, I think is a really important part of that work, so that once you get, so that they can keep that door open. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do you want to just sum up very quickly before you sit back down?
Yeah, I was just going to address what she was
Closer.
walking away. When it comes to the education aspect, for instance, in Guyana, even at the nursery level, the kindergarten level, we have animation videos, we have infomercials and stuff like that that we show to our very young people. At the elementary level, we have, I won't say the best, but they have access to robotics, STEM, not even just STEM, because like Victoria would have done, we now incorporate it holistically in the arts field. At the university level, we're trying to steer persons away from just becoming environmentalists or ecologists. There is a big disaster risk part that plays a role in careers like urban development and planning and so on. A lot of young people don't know that. When they hear about disaster work and climate change work, they think, well, oh, I need to go out and advocate, I need to march, I need to do X, Y, and Z. You don't. There are ways that it can be incorporated into a ton of career choices. I think once we are better at raising the awareness about that, more persons would become involved. In addition to that, there is a lot of ways that you can have it married to extracurricular activities. For instance, I started in an environmental club outside of school. That's why I've been in this so long. And then after that, I think it just takes off from there. There comes a point when you need to have your voices heard at the community level, then at the national level, and so on. I personally believe, especially with the 60% of youth that Guyana has, that the youth voice eventually turns into the youth vote. So a smart person would want to hear that youth voice.
Thank you very much. I'll swap mics with you. Eritai, come on up. Eritai is from Kiribati, and he has one of the big what-if questions to answer. I'm going to read the question and let you respond, yeah? Come into the center so we really get you on camera. So your question that you're going to respond to today is, what if we put more financial resources at the grassroots level and use new technologies to improve communication and coordination? Because small communities understand their needs best and need the resources to support their planning, to support disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. Take it away. It's on.
Hello. Thank you very much. To respond to that, I do believe that youth have two big opportunities that the last generation didn't. Sorry. And those two things are technology and communication. So the resources and the ideas at our fingertips with technology. Instead of dealing with our own small group, trying to figure out the solution, we are able to reach out to the world to see what others have done and what has worked. Similar to my project, I modify what others have done so that it works in my situation. Simple. Communication is almost instantaneous. And very, very few projects out there in the world are completely new. Someone in the world has already tried to do something similar and had a degree of success. I believe this generation all wants the same thing, and that's why we're all here. And that is to preserve the world for the future. I do believe a united international effort would be able to do that. I see it as a grassroots approach compared to a more scientific approach that tends to happen. So my message is, don't let it get tied up into politics. Give resources to the community to move things ahead. Thank you very much.
Come and stand with me in the middle. You're from Kiribati. Now, every
correct.
country in the world has been affected by climate change, but Kiribati was really affected first
Is it the
and perhaps
forefront?
worst. You're already
Correct.
experiencing sea level rise. You're already experiencing displacement issues. If I gave you $1 million right now, what would you do with it?
I ran away. Nah. The Kiribati people, we have a very strong connection to the land. You know,
Put the mic up.
yeah, the land and the ocean is our world. It's excuse me. I'm looking back at my ancestors, right? I guess I tried to tie that question to them. What would you do with $1 million? I'll raise the island up, you know? To be honest, I would invest that to the island infrastructure. That's what I would do. You know, we love our island. We do not want to leave. But we are indeed affected with the impacts of climate change. And we need action right now. Not tomorrow, right now.
Thank you very much. I can see this is really heartfelt. I'm going to take one question from the floor or one comment. Perhaps there's another representative. Yeah, if you want to come down to, we've only got 5 minutes left, so you come right down to the mic if you've got something burning you'd like to say.
I'm Priyanka, originally from India in New York. I'm sorry what you're going through. I couldn't compare my city, what it went through, but we have a flood problem inside the city, right? And the way I take climate change is more than a threat. I take it as an opportunity, as an entrepreneur as well, because we really have an opportunity to bring an industrial revolution here, right? And for future, and we have 10 years. So when I went to my government 7 years ago for the local district where there was flooding happening, I was like, real estate companies can invest here to lift up the homes from the ground in order to get the flooding out of the streets and raise the level, because if the water level is rising, We need innovative architecture and interiors and all those things. So when we go to the government, we can't just tell them that, oh, this is what we want. It's all business for them, right? So we have to tell them, this is the problem, here's the solution, and it's impactful to both of us, for people, government, and businesses. So when you present your thought as an opportunity, which is benefited for everyone, that's when everyone understands it's a global impact. It's just not one country, it's a planet.
Thank you very much. Would you like to respond?
Yes, if
briefly?
I may. I guess that's why I came up with a project that I actually just want to prove, and I just want to show to the world that we're affected, but we're not, waiting for assistance. We're doing it right now. And that's how I came up with the hydroponic project, the Demel project, where we feed our own people because we can't grow our food, on the land. So I'm using a very new incubus idea or innovation with technology, the hydroponic, just to show it that, we're doing what we can. We're not waiting for you, This is our home. We're doing what we can. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, and thanks really for exposing the human rights angle as well. Marwa, you're here with me already. Come on up. I'm going to read out the question that you're going to answer, another big what if. What if we prioritize, come into the center so we can see you. What if we prioritize the future generation's right to a healthy environment and surroundings? What if we could have cases on climate change justice mentioned in the criminal court in The Hague? What if we became the silo breakers between climate change and disaster risk reduction to achieve a more climate-just environment for everyone? Let's hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you. So yesterday I went to the climate strike. It was my first time to participate in such an event. I heard lots of empowering messages and I read lots of empowering quotes. Just to mention some of them, some people wrote, oh, let's save the elephants, let's save the turtles, and these were some innocent messages from the very young youth. But one of the very repetitive quotes that were heard throughout the march was, what we want is climate action and climate justice, and when do we want it? It's now. So yeah. Well, as empowering and inspiring that is, but do you think that climate justice is something that we should be calling for on the streets? Do you think that we as the young people don't have better aspirations and better places to be? Like, why do we have to go to the streets, shout and yell for our very basic human need or human right? So yeah. So my what if question was, what if we were living in a world where our human rights, our basic human rights to a healthy environment was prioritized? What if, when we thought that someone is actually invading this right, we can just go to the international criminal court and ask for our right to be retrieved? Why do we have to go to the streets and yell for that? Because don't you think it's unjust that we, the children and youth of today, have to bear the consequences of the economic and personal desires of some people? Don't you think it's unjust that the most vulnerable people and the people who are actually the most impacted by climate change aren't the ones who are actually causing it? So, don't you think that people living in conflict zones and areas don't have enough of burdens that they actually need to bear more burdens because of our irresponsible actions? Because right now the deal is more than 100 countries have already started to incorporate the right to a healthy environment in their national constituencies. However, how effective is this? Because according to the Human Rights Watch, 200 people lost their lives in 2016 while they were trying to call for their very basic human right. 200 environmental activists have actually died in 2016 while they're trying to act or trying to ask for their very basic human need. So The question now is, or actually my concluding remark would be, the states have to work on fulfilling this very basic human right of a healthy environment if they want to respect and fulfill all the human rights. And this won't happen before making the proper, assertive, and solid needed climate change laws and legislations. So it's not climate injustice. It's actually our human selfishness and our human ignorance. So I think we need to act now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mawa. Stay here. You raise a really strong point that the people who've done least to make the climate change so drastically are the most affected by it. The most vulnerable are becoming more vulnerable because of climate change and risk. And member states have already promised to do something about this when they signed up to the Sendai Framework. The Sendai Framework is a UN agreement which sets out 7 targets for action. Things like putting in place early warning systems, making sure that governments have disaster risk reduction strategies, making sure that the international community adequately funds risk reduction activities. There is a powerful policy instrument already in place that all of your member states have agreed with back in 2015, and they have until 2030 to put it on the ground. So when you go home, as young people who have the futures of your countries in your hands, you have every right to ask your member state and your politicians and your government what they're doing to take care of you, reducing your risk in the future. We're going to wrap it up here because we've got the next team coming. I'm just going to say one thing in conclusion.
Yes, please. Close.
We really want to hear your thoughts. And there's a QR code you can see on the banner here. We have just finished with UNICEF and Save the Children writing a really practical guide that says, how do you involve young people and children in reducing risk? And it's open for public consultation. We want to hear from you, so if you scan that QR code, you'll get through to a website that has a link to that guide, and you can write to us with your thoughts and comments. It's open for the next 2 months. We'd love to hear from you. So from me on behalf of the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, I'd really love to thank the people who've come to join us, share their thoughts with you, and thank you for joining in and listening and contributing. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Yes, please give them a hand. What a great session. So we're actually going to go right into our next session, which is a great segue from what we just experienced. It's actually, what we're going to have is an open mic. So we do have the mic here. I would ask that we all line up as they did before, starting at the red tables, and one at a time to the mic. And what we're going to do is actually give you guys an opportunity to share what you're doing in your communities. Please, when you get to the mic, express your name and what organization you work with or what project you're working on. And also, we needed to, I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to also have this live stream as well, so if you can please speak clearly into the microphone so that our live stream audience can hear your questions or hear your concerns, as well as hear what you're doing in the community. Please feel free to give us your social media handles as well as your websites. So we want to know basically what are solutions that you have that you're working on now, some best practices that you may have that your organization locally is doing, that you have a part of. And we're going to end that with a networking moment where everyone can speak with each other, and just let's have this as an open moment for today. We've got so much information in thus far, and we haven't really had an opportunity to see who's really in the room, what you guys are doing actively. And this is the SDG Action Zone, so we want to definitely see what kind of actions are being done within the community for climate change. And I'm going to let Annie speak.
So really, everybody come and line up. We want to see you, we want to hear you, we want to, we're going to keep the time. You have 2 minutes apiece, so let's have our first person up. Anybody? You can sing, you can read poetry, you can just go and say stuff.
I'll give you guys a wave, like if you go a little bit over. Hopefully everybody stays under the 2 minutes, but we do want to give everybody a chance. So please, first person wants to come to the mic, just again, explain who you are. I think I want to turn the mic over this way so everyone can see you. You're not talking to The dead wall. All right, guys. So it's an open mic, open floor. Let's just form a line back here, and everyone will have an opportunity to speak. Hopefully, we have 30 minutes for this session. So let's try to get all of our information out.
Hi, folks. I'll be brief. My name is Jesse Hines. I'm a founder of an organization called Climate Careers. We are an organization that tries to get people employed at organizations, nonprofits, for-profit companies, startups, all the above that are working on climate change solutions. Right now, I know I've seen so many amazing solutions all of today, and I've seen amazing technology that people are working on, and nonprofits and movements that people are working on as well. And we are trying to get people catalyzed and align their paycheck and what they do for a living with organizations that are doing really impactful stuff around climate change. If you're interested in getting involved and you're like a student and you're trying to find that first career out of college, and maybe you're an activist, but that's what you do on the side, you want to figure out what you're going to do professionally, reach out to me or go type in climate.careers on a URL and let's get to work.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcel Partouche Gutierrez and I represent the Northern American side of Yes for Humanity. So Yes for Humanity is an organization, a global organization and a coalition that is youth-led, and we come with a couple of solutions. We understand that there's an interconnectedness in the issues that are at stake. So it's not just global warming, it's not just white supremacy, it's not just racism, it's not just poverty, it's basically all of it together. And we want to unite beyond our differences and promote critical thought and education for true representation. So we also give the space. Today I'm here, but perhaps it'll be you that will be representing, you that will be part of the movement, because we want to create something that is bigger than ourselves, that represents humanity, and that helps us move forward. Our coalition believes against all odds that humanity is worth fighting for, and we are worth fighting for. So as a global network that connects the citizens as pillars of society, we have businesses, we have civil society, we have intergovernmental cooperations, and we also have this online platform that actually helps us over the course of 4 phases, 10 years. In 10 years, the organization will have reached its goal, because or else irreversible change will have come to a term. And our goal is really to connect positive people around the planet, prioritize our issues, mobilize, and really make the biggest impact that is possible for us as young people, but also understanding that Indigenous folks and many struggles have to be put at the forefront, not necessarily only tokenize who can look like a superstar, but really take space in a way that makes us all feel seen and heard. Thank you so much. Yes for Humanity on Facebook and Instagram. We also have the online platform that is being launched. Y'all are great. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Urvi Talati and I am the co-founder of Mission Sanskar. I'm originally from India, but I now stay in New Haven while I study at Yale. Project Drawdown by the Penn State has recognized a few solutions, some leverage points using which we can solve the super wicked problem of climate change. And the way Mission Sanskar is addressing this is by helping to educate young adolescent girls. And the way we do this is by trying to destigmatize menstruation in India, which is one topic that has a lot of taboo attached to it. So what we do is we basically organize awareness sessions to help young girls understand that menstruation is a very natural process, and try to just inspire a behavioral change, because menstruation often becomes the barrier that keeps girls out of school, and it leads to imbalance between the genders, and it has various impacts down the line in terms of the opportunities that they are given. So we try to focus on 3 main things, that is to create meaningful partnerships, and use fun, innovative methods to get our message across so that we're not just teachers, but we're friends. And we try to get them, talking, because conversation is something that really helps when we're trying to break stigma. And finally, we try to inculcate sustainability in everything we do and help get the message across that there are product choices that are available that are not as polluting as the disposable menstrual hygiene products that we have today. So if you'd like to know more about what we do, we have our website. It's www.missionsanskar.com, SANSCAR. And you can even check out Instagram. It's mission_sanskar. And we'd really like to know more about how we can do more and inspire young girls so that we can empower them to help solve climate change and all of the other crises that we are facing today. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Joel Organista. I'm originally from La Ciudad de Mexico, but I live in Salt Lake City. I did want to highlight what happened 4 weeks ago, like a month ago, with the United Nations Civil Society Conference. We had a lot of youth from all over be there and create the Climate Compact. And, but I really wanted to highlight some of the work that was happening locally. So there's a group over there called the Air Protectors, a group of indigenous people. So the water protectors are those that were there at Standing Rock defending the water. And many of the indigenous people from Utah also went to Standing Rock with the water protectors, but then they came back in Salt Lake and created the air protectors. The air quality of Salt Lake City is really bad. We live in a valley where the pollution gets stuck and it can't go anywhere until like a storm comes by, whether it be a blizzard or a rainstorm. But since we're a desert, it doesn't happen often. So what they did is many of the youth leaders ran over 330 miles. So they ran for 2 weeks straight from southern Utah all the way to the state capitol at the beginning of the UN Civil Society Conference. And to talk about the indigenous issues that were happening, they had to wear masks, right, when they're running because of how bad that quality of the air is, so they don't get sick and have some really long-term problems. But also specifically, they brought up the issues of indigenous missing and murdered women that's happening in the United States and all over the world, and also the issues of young indigenous people and continuing of like oppressing them, and just remembering of just the genocide that's been happening. And we live on stolen land. We live right now in this physical area is stolen land, right? And so I just wanted to acknowledge that. And so there's a lot of work that we need to continue to do in terms of empowering the indigenous people. And I wanted to make sure that was uplifted into the works that was happening. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Priyanka here. Belong from New York, originally from India. So I've started my first step to make a global impact by preserving bees and overpopulating the bee population, right? That's our crisis. And we have 10 years to reach to a point where we cannot have any turn back. So I'm trying my best by making small impacts by harvesting organic honey, overpopulating the bees, teaching the farmers how we can have organic plantation done, funding for the seeds of flora and fauna. This way we touch plantation, animal population, organic honey, and the part of the revenue goes into women empowerment and education as well. So I'm trying to touch the grassroots areas over there. And as an entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur, I'm open to all the platforms, whatever it takes, whatever your mission is. My website is priyankab.com, and Twitter handle is PriyankaABB. Follow me, contact me, let's make this happen. My life is dedicated for next 10 years for this one hope, one chance, and one last mission that we need for generations to come. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name is Olumide Idowu. I'm from Nigeria. I'm the co-founder of International Climate Change Development Initiative, popularly known as Climate Wednesday. So basically, let me talk about 3 projects. The first project I want to talk about is a community action impact. So there's a community in my country where I noticed that language barrier, and communication is a big problem with them. And I was able to take this project to Save the Children, and I was very, very happy. For the past 4 years, they have been supporting the project. The only thing we do in the community is to identify problems. I don't know whether anybody know what they call the problem trees. So we are using a tool called problem trees to help the community to identify their problems and to show them the solutions to the problem. So they can take ownership of their own problem and take ownership of the solution. So Save the Children has been a very good supporter of this project, and it's always something that we want to continue to do. Now the second one is the most popular platform that we call Climate Wednesday. Started 2013, and I can tell you up to now, I've been able to make sure that I've had a lot of global leaders, a lot of young people talking on this platform. The idea of Climate Wednesday is to help young people to understand the communication, climate change communication, and to also see whereby they can take ownership of their project. Another channel again is our reports are the reports that we take to the grassroots to also make use of changes we see on the grassroots. Then the last one is called the Climate Talk Podcast that was launched in January. If you go online now, type www.climatetalkpodcast. We've been able to also help young people to make their voice heard, in the sense that they talk about the issues they're facing and they talk about how they can contribute to the global issue. And with this, we've been able to change a lot of people's idea. And I will quickly say this, I always say it anywhere I go to. You know, when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. So as young people, let us try, even if it is to tell somebody about what climate change is all about, it can actually get somewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Daniel Chidubem Buji. I run a non-for-profit based organization legally here in the US. And we raise awareness about climate change using people's passion, your current passion, your skills, and your talent to drive the message. We have two apps that, content around two apps that we're working on. Please, we want you to go to this website, agree, agree.earth/repclimb, REPCLIME-APP. My friends are watching from Serbia, so they're telling me. So the important thing I've learned in this conference is this is timely. Young people are now creating ideas out of the box. My background is a medical person. I'm not an IT person. However, we know fully well what flooding can do. You don't need to be a doctor to know that flooding can really be a bad thing. You don't need to be a scientist to know what hurricane can do. We're now having them in more frequency. So I now discovered from my friends and my team that if we're able to help vulnerable community or disproportionately affected people be able to predict, know how quickly, know how fast, know what time they have to get out of harm's way, we will not have the senseless death. Early this year in Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, there was a category 2 hurricane, not 5, just 2. And the country, nobody's hearing of them again. They've not recovered till now. Bahamas, it's going to take 5 to 10 years, a generation devastation has taken place. Rather than we sit down and complain, I felt we're at the digital age. Why not let's conceptualize a concept that can help Africans, farmers, know when to farm, how to farm, help first responders in Africa know when to send message and alert in your own language. We're asking for you all to save 25 million people. And the only way you can do that is go to our app, RepClimb, agree.earth/repclimb-app. Thank you so much as you vote for us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Wang, and I'm a collegiate representative from China, specifically NYU Shanghai. So today I really want to talk about, because of the lack of a academic representation from China at the UN Climate Summit, about single-use plastic in Chinese, especially in the more city-urban areas of China, specifically Shanghai. When I was at school in NYU Shanghai, I had two things that I noticed about climate. First of all, pollution. When I was there, pollution some days can go to AQI about 400 for some cities, 200 on a normal day. 100 is just standard. If it's anything below 100, this is the perfect day for you to go out, jog for 10 miles. The other thing that I noticed is about single-use plastic. China has a huge labor market, so what the result of that is a really, really strong food delivery system. Also with like something similar to Uber Eats, we have Ele.me and Meituan and other similar apps and organizations. The problem with this is it's so convenient, so all the students, a lot of employees who are the working class people are relying on this very cheap method of trying to get food, a quick lunch, so they can resume their work. The problem with that is every time I walk by the trash can within our school, even where I was interning in Shanghai, I see a lot of just grease, leftover food, plastic, one-time use utensils just sitting in the garbage can. And that happens on a daily basis. The problem with this is people just don't understand, not that they don't understand how to recycle, it's that plastic is not just one single category. Plastic has different forms, where some you have to recycle differently, and some you can't even recycle. One thing that NYU Shanghai specifically has done within the past year is that they try to educate the student population of the different forms of plastic, including what can and cannot be recycled. I believe that this is a good thing. It's a very small step, but not only just China, but other countries where they use also a lot of single-use plastics can invent in this type of education of teaching, not just to recycle, but how to recycle. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm representing the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. We are a spiritual NGO with consultative status with the UN from the past 20 years and going towards attaining successful SDG developments. There are many steps that the organization has taken to make it happen. One of them, even before going to that, the approach that we take is called an inside-out approach, asking ourselves, why am I doing what am I doing? And one of the recent developments, which are headquarters, which is based on the top of a beautiful mountain in Mount Abu in Rajasthan, which is in India, is totally banning single-use plastic. So what is the impact of that? It's a small city, but about 350,000 people and thousands of students go to our headquarters every year. And having ban has a lot of impact on it because it's not just saving the local community, because these people go back to their countries, which is from 110 countries in 8,500 centers, and adapt that lifestyle. And secondly, whoever is on this path of meditation, and so they choose a lifetime commitment of vegetarianism. And we all know what is the impact of leading or having a vegetarian diet. We are slowly moving towards vegan, but not there yet, but vegetarianism. So thirdly, just wanted to share one more thing, was we don't have to be a great environmentalist or holding an organization. Somebody today, this morning, was saying that I'm an imperfect environmentalist, and we need more of that. Think global, but to act local, because every thought that we have, it has an impact on every molecule of water on this body and also around. So to hold that awareness that you think positive, hold that peaceful thought as you're cooking or as you're eating has an impact on yourself and also on our community. So inviting all of you to join and make this happen. All we need is single baby steps, and we can do that. And to join us, you can connect us on un.brahmakumaris.org. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we do have to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, so I would just ask if the last few people could just cut it down to 1 minute, just so we can stay on schedule. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. My name's Emmanuel Lopillo, and I'm from South Sudan, one of the youngest country in the whole world that recently got independent. And I work for Junub Open Space, which is a national registered organization. I am a peace activist and social entrepreneur from South Sudan. I would like to say briefly about what we do in South Sudan, mainly in the side of how we are combating climate in South Sudan. We provide a co-working space to the youths in South Sudan where they can work and collaborate on group and individual projects. And we, at the co-working space, we have recycled car tires to make them seats for people to use it at the space. We don't have a normal seat, but we only have car tires. Those ones that are supposed to be banned, but we make them, we recycle them. And beside that, we have also built a small house within the, at our neighborhood, all made out of plastic bottles. And that is total, instead of those plastics being waste, we also recycle them back. And we also make plastic bags and other stuff that we all do this recycling. And we decided of, we have initiated a campaign in the country whereby it looks at collecting garbages, this waste out of the street, and which the discussions after that, after the campaign led into production of a single-use bag that our city council were able to produce and provide them to different shops so that they can able to have. And as an entrepreneur, we always look at these gaps or this problem as an opportunity. We don't look them as problems because we immediately come up with the solutions on how we can able to bridge those gaps. And with that, we're able to solve it using our different awareness program and as well the hands-on skills that we, programs that we have into bringing the ideas of the youth into something that is working. So I'm so much grateful to share this brief. And if you like to get more about what we do, you can check us on social media, that on Facebook, we are Junub Open Space. Junub is is a word South Sudan in our local Arabic, which is JUNUB, open in space. So on Twitter it is called Junub OS, and our website is junubos.org. If you like also to have more conversation, we can meet later on us there and also exchange contacts. So we focus on technology, peace building, and entrepreneurship. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Dunley, and I'm a third grade teacher from New Jersey, from Tabernacle Elementary. And I'm here to ask your support in helping the students of my class and the students that we work with for two global learning projects. One's going on right now, and the hashtag is Goals Project. And the other hashtag is Climate Action P, which will be for the entire month of October. Getting the young children who are 7, 8, 9 years old to change the way they see the world and see themselves as leaders, not future leaders. They change the decisions of their households, and the more that you can help us support in their global learning and their impact on social media, the bigger the impact that it'll have on the world. So thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Alora and I'm a recent Harvard grad and a member of UNA Brooklyn. So one thing I just wanted to bring attention to was the way that we often talk about climate change. I mean, you talk a lot about recycling. And recycling is a fantastic thing. We should definitely all do that. But I think a lot of people are naive to the realities of the recycling situation. The US ships over 7 million tons of recycled materials to China and other Southeast Asian countries. And we've come to a point where those countries are no longer accepting those materials because they physically lack the capacity and resources and technology to address that. So we have no place else to send our recycling. Less than 70% of our recycled materials are actually recycled. So I really think we had to start changing the message to single-use plastic in order to avoid a crisis. And I know that sounds a bit difficult, the idea of switching all of our life to single-use plastic, but there are a lot of easy ways to do that. One of the ways that I do it is actually with this, just a fork. I keep it in my bag when I go to events so that if they have plastic forks, I can just use this, wipe it off, and clean it at home. And little things like that, you know, reusable straws, reusable bottles are so important to avoiding this crisis, and I think that everyone could do a lot to engage with this. Thank you so much.
Let's give everyone a hand that came up to our open mic. What a great session that was. Thank you for everyone that just shared what they're doing, and I hope that everyone got down all that information as far as contacting these different groups, and if we all come together and we all just network, and we can make a change, and together we can get these SDGs accomplished. I'm sorry it's so hot in here, but the AC did just cut back on, so you guys will be all right. So we're going on to our next panel, and we'll also be going, after that, we have this great demonstration from Kitchen Connection. So if you guys are hungry, you want a little snack, stay with this panel and on to the next demonstration. I have to leave you guys now. I really enjoyed the day with you guys, and it was such a great experience. And I hope you guys continue to learn from this session. I'm going to go ahead and announce our next host here. She's going to be Ashu. She works with me with the Youth Steering Committee and the Youth Reps program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Youth. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow global citizens. Thank you very much for joining us today. We know we've had a lot of discussions, but we're definitely looking forward to having you continue on with them. So now next panel will include the power of young consumers. I would like to call upon the three panelists who will be joining us, yes, and we will have a brief discussion of some of the work that they're doing, and then also, of course, hear from all of you. So I kindly ask all the panelists to come up on stage. So yes, welcome, welcome. So, as we know, youth are catalysts in combating climate change and have been finding innovative solutions to protect the environment. The private sector also has been collaborating with other actors to contribute towards a circular economy. Now, in today's panel discussion, we'll be discussing some of the solutions on how do we contribute towards a circular economy. I'd first like to pass the floor to Madison Ross, who is an NGO youth representative for Mercado Global, and whose focus has been on sustainable fashion. And we look forward to hearing a few words from her. Madison, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Aishu. Yes, hi everyone. My name is Madison Ross, and I'm a youth representative for Mercado Global. I'm also learning as much as I can when it comes to being sustainably fashionable, both environmentally as well as socially, and just learning from you all, as well as what we as consumers can do when it comes to the fashion industry. I think one of the main things goes all the way back to education, educating ourselves, not only of our impact, but what impacts us, as well as the differences people are impacted by. Like, my circumstances may be varied from your circumstances, and that's totally fine. And it's a call to action of we need to educate ourselves of how different we are, how we need to celebrate such, and how we can move forward and be better educated as consumers in general. I think when it comes to, say, influencing businesses or learning more about businesses of what they've done or how they can be affected, we often get intimidated of how much of a voice we have or lack thereof. And so I think it can be the thing of us being simply as employees, we're all whomever we are employed by, how much of we have a voice there, because businesses can be sustainable both externally but also internally. Like, how much healthcare are you given as an employee? That's a question. Or simply what's going on environmentally in offices. Do they recycle? Do they, is there gender equality and such? What are they doing to give back both socially and environmentally? When it comes to externally, it's a thing of also understanding how's the supply chain looking like from production line all the way to the sales floor. How much plastic is wrapped in such. I think we mentioned earlier today, Johanna mentioned about things are shipped almost every day using oil and all these fossil fuels, and carbon footprint is so large on such just to simply send a garment on the sales floor. Is it worth it of that such? Like, do we know of this such, or is it valued to us as much to really care? That's a real question. So it's going back to education of how well we know our supply chain, where it's coming from, how much it affects the environment, how much it affects the people who are making it, for one. And truthfully, I'm still learning about it all. It also comes to the thing of reflecting back on ourselves of what we want to do. Like, do I really care for me to be a part of whatever trend next week? Or do I see myself, do I have enough integrity to actually own up to what I like is what I like, and I'm fine with buying like one garment like a month or baby steps to a year. It's all like self-reflection on such and educating you, your influence, what influences you and such. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Madison, for your insight. Definitely, there have also been a lot of innovation in the fashion industry, making clothes out of plastic bottles, and also one person from South Africa, I believe, who was 16 years of age, used orange peels to make clothes. So definitely, it's very interesting. We can reuse other materials for clothing wear. So thank you very much for your insights. I would next like to pass the floor to Huelehi Organista, who is the Vice President of Youth for the United Latin American Association, and who also just shared the work that he has been doing in Salt Lake City with his colleagues. Perhaps you can share how you have been going about this within the community and some of your plans for the future for the endeavor. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So Piali, Nanotoka Huelei, Wanotzonquisca Organista, Niewa Chapultepec, Mexico. Hello. My name is Huelei Organista, and I'm originally from La Ciudad de Mexico, Chapultepec, and I introduce myself in Nahuatl, which is one of the indigenous languages in Mexico, which is the language of the Aztecs or the Mexica. I do this because my grandma always challenges me whenever I introduce myself to a group, especially if we're in a circle. We're not in a circle here, but if I introduce myself to a group, I do that. I do that. So we, as mentioned in my thing I was saying before, we are on stolen land that is indigenous, and so I always want to highlight that. In terms of the work that's in terms of environmental and consumer, the Latinx community is a big consumer, not only in the United States, but in globally, right? Latin America, in terms of how they're consuming different things. There's a lot of work in terms of educating and shifting consciousness of what a community can do in terms of their impact, and especially young people. So when I think of my community, young Latinos and Latinas in all over Latin America and the world, because I used to live in Tokyo, Japan, and there are so many Latin Americans in Tokyo, like Brazilians and Peruanos, and so consumers are everywhere in terms of my community. And so what I would suggest to them, right, especially as young people, that we have so much power. The biggest thing I hear is, especially today, was about the shipping and we are now addicted. We are in a consumer place where all of us have a device, and we can instantly, even as it says we can get it that day when we want it to be delivered. But we don't think about the oppressive situations people might be, and then even more like the robots or the specific things that are there replacing people's jobs, and also just continuing to pollute. And so people should be thinking about how their actions can push, not only in terms of keeping the most, and we're not going to say the name of the company, but the company that makes the most money in the world, and in terms of the specifics of how we can push to not only have them be more environmentally focused on the agreements that supposedly the CEO said that today that they would do, but specifically also the human rights violations that are done. And so we want to make sure when they are striking, not only for the environment, but they're striking for their rights, that we're supporting those people. And we can totally do that as consumers and supporting them.
Thank you very much, Huelehi, and for sharing your perspectives. And of course, equality for all. That's something that we should always remember. So thank you very much for sharing your words. And now I would like to pass it on to our panelist here, who briefly spoke about some of the work he's doing is the application focused on climate change. So Dr. Daniel Djiboudje, perhaps you could share the impact that your application has had, and what are some of your plans for the future? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Aisho, and thank you for our viewers here, and thank you for viewers across the world. Clearly, the topic that we have before us is a topic everybody should take very seriously. Do you think young people have the power to change the world? It's a question everybody needs to sit down and know. Yes. I'm a medical doctor. I have no idea of what computer is or what digital work is, but I got educated about how climate change can make people's life worse. It is increasing allergies. So no matter how best you go to the best allergy doctor, climate change will bring in new products of allergy. It is making mosquitoes leave areas in Africa and heading straight to America. We now have a reported case, 2 now, of a mosquito that is carrying a hemorrhagic kind of virus. It is starting. Now this topic here is, do you have powers? You do. Everything is about the numbers, for God's sake. It is always about the numbers. 2/3 of world population will be young people less than 30. They know it. The corporate world know it. It's all about the numbers. So I sat down with my team and said, the best way we young people can change the world is not just going to the streets. I'm an African. I'm tired of it. Going to the street means death for you. In my own country, in some country, rather than make noise and shout, which is good. It's good to call out your leaders, but it's equally good to start to identify your problem in your local place. What is the major problem of climate change in Nigeria? 1, there's so much temperature rising. People don't even know what to do. People don't know that going to the market at the peak of temperature is not doing yourself good. Yes, you may have made money, but you're only making money for the doctors. Why? You will be dehydrated, right? You will expose yourself to harmful rays, right? You may be exposed to cancer. You may be exposed to other things. Clearly, rise in temperature is affecting agriculture. How I used to know farming when I was 7 years old is not what I know now. Now, what I used to know as farming is this. By the time we are harvesting, they always call backups. Trucks upon trucks coming. And everybody knows that during the raining season and shortly after the raining season is boom, boom, boom at the end. But I'm telling you, for the last 8 years, we import rice. The largest population in the world brings in rice from other countries. And the reason is because climate change is really making it hard for us to meet with the internal consumption. Yes, some states, in due respect, in my country, like Lagos, they are all tapping into it. But it's not about the way we practice the agriculture that we know. There are smarter ways now to do agriculture. Agriculture has nothing to do with soil. I came to America to realize that. There's hydroponics. So we need to get these simple messages out to people that you are struggling with the soil now because of the temperature. What is wrong with you using water? What is wrong with you using air? What is wrong with you sitting down and looking at vertical farming? What is the smart eco-restoration? But we know they cannot do this unless they have something to educate them. So we decided to conceptualize all this in an app. And we're calling on you. 100,000 likes or support for this app will make it free for every African. If there's any point in time you think you are useful, it's going to be now. When you put a human face, when you look at the better part of you, when you try to speak up for those that cannot help themselves, that cannot travel here with thousands of dollars, that's when you are important. Go to agree.earth/repclimb. Look at what it's all about, -app, and click I agree to a concept where we want to help Africans better be able to predict what the temperature will look like tomorrow. We want to help Africans who do not have first responder better to send SMS to their leaders that it's going to flood in 4 days' time because all these parameters are in place for a flooding. We don't have gutters. We don't have channels that this water can run in. We stay in the valley region and things are getting bad. Imagine if an app like that can be sent in a language they understand. That's what young people like us were able to do. And if we use the digital space, that's our future. Any young person here who doesn't understand that the world has evolved is just fooling himself. It's a wake-up call on you. You have the power to change the world. You have the power to help 24 million Africans have in real time, without any first responder, without any helicopter, they have a leeway to get out of harm's way, to build adaptational capacity, to strengthen resilience by knowing what lies ahead of them. So this is what I believe we can do to empower ourselves. This is the power we have, the power to drive innovation. That is the new fuel. Sit down, look at your area. What is your problem? Is it school? Is it education? Is it hunger? How do we feed people? Is it farming? Once you identify that, relate with people that are in that sector. And then try to drag them out through the path of sustainable development. Not until we call out ourselves as young people and tell ourselves it's not about the old people. It's never about them. It's, are you really ready to take destiny in your hands? Are you really ready to change your family name? Are you really ready to rise above board? If you are, you must be able to identify problems in your area, try and solve them while you call out your government, try and relate with people that are disproportionately affected by that problem. You don't need to be affected by them, but you can help drive and ensure we put a human face to the chaos, to the anarchy. It's time to make the planet great again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jibuje, for sharing your insight and the implications of climate change on health. Definitely, that is something that we should remember. For instance, the Ebola crisis in 2014 that began in the Democratic Republic of Congo, climate change was one of the factors. Yes, so definitely this is something we should keep in mind. And as you mentioned, working with various actors, we can definitely win this race, as the United Nations states that in the new Act Now campaign. I would like to ask any of the panelists for any final thoughts before we proceed into their next segment. Madison, Walehi, or Dr. Jibuje, any thoughts, inspiration, call to action?
I guess in terms of a call to action, it's just seeing what we can do ourselves as consultants or educators to businesses, bridging the gap between private sectors and the United Nations, and seeing what resources the UN already offers to give to businesses. Like, for example, the UN Global Compact is getting more and more fashion businesses in by like this year, because brands are being more just more conscious of their impact. We saw on G7, there was the fashion pact by the CEO of Keurig, just really discussing how we can, the fashion industry can better get back with fighting global warming, increasing back on biodiversity, as well as further preserving our oceans. And that's just one thing, one step businesses are doing. So let's further help and educate, build the bridge, seeing what businesses haven't yet been introduced to the United Nations, or what resources. Simply sending letters, or knowing we live in New York City, networking with those who actually have a voice and such. So just seeing how we can further give back, knowing that you're worth, you have these resources here, and being able to share it with business colleagues, I think is like a great first step. If anything, yeah.
I guess what I would suggest, especially since this is about consumers, be conscious as a consumer. Like, think about those companies you are supporting with your money, especially as young people, which we don't have lots of money. Like, so like really think about like, what are you spending your money on, and it speaks a lot about you. They always say what at least I've heard along, which is like budgets are like a moral document, right? Like, and just the same thing with your life. Like, where are you spending your money, and what is it telling about you? Are you supporting companies that continue to violate human rights? Are you supporting companies that don't care about their workers? Do you support companies that clearly do not care about the air, the water, and the land? Like, do you support companies that clearly don't care about giving back to the community? And so it's your job to do that. And until you are more conscious about companies that are the infrastructure for concentration camps, or for continual violations for youth, or destroying completely ecosystems in different places, and why we have crises sometimes, it's your job to know what companies are doing that. And so the biggest thing we can do in social media is continue to share that, and also be walking the talk. Because if someone did see your finances, first of all, if someone saw my bank, they'll be like, okay, I don't know how that person's surviving, but you can see clearly where I'm walking the talk. What am I paying for? And then what am I clearly going? Am I supporting local businesses? Am I supporting people of color? Am I supporting indigenous people? Am I supporting women-owned businesses? Am I supporting what am I supporting, right? It surely should show. And so that's my invitation for all of you. Be conscious and show where your money is in terms of where you want to see the world go.
Yes, thank you so much. And he actually has captured my mind. I'll add to what he's saying. This is a historic meeting. It has never happened before. You don't need to hold the mic to make history. You just need to be part of a movement. I believe that young people have that power to change the world. And I'm appealing to everybody out there that whatever you see that is going on in the world that is wrong does not mean you cannot be that savior. This is a redemptive summit that young people are having, deliberating on how to tell our world leaders that those in the front line of climate change have built resilience. They are tired. They just need a lifeline. They need fundings. We are tired of doing the same thing over and over again that has never given us an outcome that is favorable. Fossil fuel brought us where we are. It doesn't make sense. Let us look for other options. This is not the first time mankind has been bedeviled with global catastrophe. The Black Plague is there. Ebola is there. Recession, economic recession is there. And we've all risen above board. Why can't we change? So rather than clearly look into the symbolic signatures all our leaders are saying, we're pleading that young people don't want chaos. We're not after your job. We just want to make sense of this life. We want to leave something for our children. It is ecologically irresponsible for any adult to create a mess for a child who is 6, who is 7, who doesn't have that capacity right now, but he's looking at you to do something. So please go and support Repcline. It means a lot to Africans that we have an app. And I want to say shout out to all my members here who came. I want to thank the UN Global Department, because if you don't create this platform, that's what some young people need. There are wonderful projects every single person here has. Some may not have the articulate mindset like us to speak, but we need more platforms to be able to tell you what we do. So once your leaders back home can open that door, we are pleading on leaders to open door for a population that does not deserve this. We don't deserve it. We are willing to be partners to making the world better. And intergenerational negotiation, bringing us on board the table is all we need, especially when our future is being discussed. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.
Thank you very much to the panelists for sharing all your perspectives. We definitely enjoyed listening to all of you. And thank you very much to all of you as well for attending. We would like to pause the live stream as we'll be preparing for the Climate Action Food Showcase by Kitchen Connections, which will commence in approximately 10 minutes. So we definitely look forward to having you join us for a cooking demonstration. Thank you very much once again.
Yes, we're so sorry.
you want it behind you or?
So each one should have their own.
Here's a water in case you need
Testing. Hi guys, we're not getting started just yet, but if you're here for the food showcase, we invite you to please sit as close to the stage as possible. It's going to be very intimate and it's going to involve all of you, so thank you for coming. We'll get started shortly and you will be tasting things, so get excited. Thank you.
You will be getting fed. So just squeeze in.
I should stay here? No, love, come sit closer to Chef Grace.
Can you
I'm going to introduce you. You need to set up that over there. Yeah, set up that. You can get one of those tables. Okay. Two tables, So people are going to be face just like that.
Okay, so someone's going to be standing here the whole time?
So it should be like.
So just so you're aware, whoever's standing here, we're not going to be able to see that table.
If they're standing.
Yeah, the camera's right there. And, I mean, if we have to zoom in on that table.
So should we have the line? All right, shall we do that? Okay. Can you get someone to help you with the table that way? Yeah, and this.
This we can't zoom in. We have another camera.
Where can the camera?
Cameras are only for stage.
Can the camera capture this at all?
Maybe from there, possibly. But,
From where?
Maybe from that angle, but we only have two operating and this lockbox. So
How far? Okay, so we'll do
yeah,
what
I'm
we can,
sorry.
but we would love to capture this. Yeah, it's not your fault. I understand. Okay.
as we can with what we have, and not trying to get something for you.
All right.
And he might be able to get a little bit of it, but
Okay.
it'll be the
From there.
person.
That's okay, yeah.
You want the person speaking to the computer.
The person and the
You want,
and the
so
setup.
we can maybe get ahead on that. I'll try.
All right. Cool.
John, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes. I would bring it over here.
What? Whatever you want, but talk to your person because she's your helper. Yeah. Huh? Okay. Hanan, do you want her helping you too? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Are you helping mom? Are you okay with her? Huh? You're okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Great. So happy it's her. Yeah. Okay. I think we're ready.
Let's do that one more second.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. The power's up front, he said. Power's up front? Yeah. Can you help me get this out? Here you go, love. Maybe the cord can go on the bottom. Yeah, over there. Yeah? Oh, whenever. I'll say it. I'll just announce it and then you. Okay. Yeah. So you can sit like here. Is anyone sitting here? No. Okay. So you can sit here. And then whenever they're serving, you'll grab it and then give it to people.
Okay.
Okay?
Everyone?
Whoever wants it. Okay? Does that sound good? Thank you. Okay. You tell me. Yeah. And then the chefs need to look on point. And then you're on already.
Okay.
This turns white.
Do you want one with the hummus, one with the sweet
Sounds
cheese,
good.
and one?
Yeah. You just, whatever. Well, can you just introduce me? Next, we'll have Arlene from Kitchen Connection. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
No, I remember. I think it's on my card. All right. Hop on up here.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah.
How you feeling?
Great. And then more. Asma, is there any way we could move the banner so that the move the banner with?
they get any higher? A little bit? Can you like stand over there? More? I can. It's good? Okay. At least it's not like hiding.
Hello? All right, I think we're ready to start. Erlene, we're ready to go? Okay. Feel free to sit closer. Those in the back, come have a seat.
I bet you're hungry, so sit. You're gonna get fed. Come on. You can sit. Who doesn't want to eat at this time? Really? Come on.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us. My name's Zach. I work for the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and I'm the guy that you have to listen to for a little bit before we actually get to the fun part. We were originally going to start with a river dance style kick line, but I broke my foot
Yeah,
and
I was
abandoned.
ready. I just came back from Ethiopia, so I have my moves down.
So listen, we wanted to start with just a little bit about connecting food and climate. You know, all of you here know that climate change is the defining issue of our time. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You might not know IFAD, and I am contractually obligated to at least briefly inform you that the International Fund for Agricultural Development, or IFAD, is a UN agency and an international financial institution. And what we do is basically invest over $1 billion a year in rural people and in their livelihoods to help address climate change, but also poverty, hunger, and across all the SDGs to help drive the transformation that's needed in rural areas and across the world to put us on the right path facing the climate challenge, the climate crisis that we face.
Amen.
And if you were marching yesterday, you'd probably agree that climate change is an issue of justice and equity as much as it is of environmental degradation or unsustainable patterns of economic growth. Our work is about working with those that have done little to contribute to the problem, to get ahead of the game through mitigation measures, but especially adaptation to new and emerging challenges. So I am also contractually obligated to give you some numbers. The latest evidence shows that food systems, I'm going to read them, make sure I get them right. Our food systems are unsustainable and completely incompatible with our climate and sustainability goals. Food systems contribute up to 29% of greenhouse gas emissions today. That's almost a third. And over 44% of methane alone. They're responsible for 80% of biodiversity loss, and they continue to overuse increasingly scarce natural resources like water, forests, and land. And not only are these systems unsustainable environmentally, they're socially and economically unfair. Even though we produce more food than we ever have, over 1 in 9 people, that's 821 million people, are hungry every single day. And this is happening while we're wasting or losing over 1/3 of the food that we produce. 2 billion adults are overweight. So what this tells us is that to feed a world of 10 billion by 2050, it's not necessarily about producing more food. It's about ensuring equitable access to good food. We also know that it's small farmers, particularly in rural areas, that are producing over half of all food calories today. And that's despite all too often facing challenges of poverty and hunger themselves. So any way you look at it, our food systems aren't just out of balance, they're broken. But today, we're here to talk about what we can do now as individuals, as communities, as organizations, to change the direction, to accelerate progress, to accelerate change for where we need to go. Food is such a powerful way to do this. It connects us with one another, and it connects us with our planet. It's one of the most tangible ways that we interact with our natural world. And because people, all of us here, interact with food every day, actions to transform food systems can lead the way in showing us what sustainable development can actually look like. It's a way that you can tangibly do something in your everyday life to make a difference. At IFAD, and you'll have these in the bags if you get one way we're trying to help people connect with that is through a program we call Recipes for Change. It's a campaign that links rural people and the ingredients that are facing extinction because of climate change with recipes that you can make at home and shift the paradigm. And it highlights our Adaptation for Smallholder Agriculture program, or ASAP. That's a fun acronym for those of you that are learning acronyms these days. And in just the past few years, ASAP has already helped 8 million vulnerable smallholder farmers in 43 countries adapt to the impacts of climate change and build more resilient livelihoods. Recipes for Change reminds us that in nature lies solutions, and that rebalancing our food systems is one of the most promising pathways to reset our relationship with nature. So I'm really happy to be here as a part of the Youth Climate Summit. IFAD's really happy to partner with the chefs here, with Kitchen Connection, with NYU, and with the UN. And I'm going to shut up now and turn it over to Erlene, who's going to lead us the rest of the way through this event. And I'm hungry, I haven't had lunch, so let's get started.
You came to the right place. I see they're hungry. Okay. Be careful over there.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you so much for that introduction. I promise I'll be brief because you all want to eat, right? It's a few hours away from lunch and a few hours to dinner, so I promise that I will be brief. But I do want to start with a story, and it's a story that some of you might know. It's a personal story that really led to the development of Kitchen Connection, which is the program which I direct. It's a story that started in Ghana 7 years ago. While I was there, I had a situation where a family agreed to take me into their home. Ghana, I see Eunice in the crowd. I actually never told Eunice this story. I try to not tell this story all the time because it's quite lengthy, 40 minutes if I tell it quickly, 1 minute if I tell it briefly, so I'll tell the 1 minute version. And I spent 5 days with this family that I had just met. And they took me into their home, fed me, housed me, and didn't ask for anything in return. And while I was staying with them, I thought to myself, I don't know what's in this dish, this final dish that I'm having with them. I don't know what ingredients are in this meal, but I'd love to recreate it. And you know what? The truth is I may never actually be back in Ghana. And then I thought, well, we could always have a video conference. Maybe they can teach me this recipe through video conference, and that could be the closest thing to actually being with them in their kitchen. And that was the impetus for Kitchen Connection, which now connects over 150 countries through home cooks.
Amazing.
And professional chefs. And the point is not to just have them sharing their recipe, but also talking about food and some of the issues that are facing the food system. As Zach mentioned, we are under the threat of climate change, conflicts, and economics. They all contribute to food insecurity. And so through our platform, the chefs are guiding us through recipes, but also talking about these issues and how we as individuals, as consumers, can alleviate that. Before I continue, I definitely have to thank all of our partners, without whom this would not be possible. Yes, give them a round of applause, even though you don't know them yet. Well, you know one. Of course, thank you to the UN Department of Global Communications Civil Society Unit for the platform. We have Jeff in the back. Also, thank you, EFAD, for the past few months and the past few years of collaboration and lots and lots of planning and phone calls and everything just to plan an hour. It's quite impressive how long it takes to do 1 hour, but hopefully you like that hour of your life. Thank you so much to New York University. They've been a partner for a long, long time and the foundation for a lot of what we have today. In particular, the student-run club, Nutrition Without Borders. And we have a lot of the students here who have been with us since last night, setting up, putting things together, are here in the back filming, doing everything. They're so amazing. And they really don't get paid to do this, but they love it with all their heart. And that's why they're here on a Saturday. So thank you. Whole Foods, of course, for feeding us, without whom we wouldn't have food. And a really new partner, as of a few hours ago, we ran into the person who is running the UN Food Garden, and she was like, you know what, I have basil in this UN Food Garden. So she took us on a tour and gave us basil that we're going to be using for our food demonstration later. So thank you, Stina. I think she's somewhere. Yay, thank you. As we know, chefs have a tremendous power. I see Paul in the back with the SDG 2 Advocacy Hub. Chefs feed over 1 billion people every day. And so you are really the tools, the advocates to instructing us on climate action and everything around the food system. So we're so lucky to have you here today. And in particular, referencing a document that I know has been a thread throughout today, the Youth Climate Compact, which was put together by the Youth Steering Committee of the United Nations Department of Global Communications, but as a result of thousands of youth consulting to pledge what they want to see in the world in terms of climate action. And two, in particular, reference food insecurity and things that we can do to alleviate it as it relates to climate change. In particular, us as consumers shopping locally, us as consumers eating and producing less meat, us as consumers knowing where our food is produced and how we are consuming it, avoiding plastic in the process of production. And so today, we hope that this is an example of that. The chefs, as the advocates and as the people who are putting this event together, representing that in every way. They are supporters of Act Now, which is the UN's campaign really engaging all of us to contribute towards climate action. And so without further ado, it is my pleasure to have them here and to have them take it away. They will be guiding us through 2 climate-conscious recipes. We'll start with Grace, just alphabetical order. And then we'll go with Hanan, who will be showcasing her climate-conscious recipe. We really do want this to be a conversation. So at this point, my only job is to help you to connect with the chefs. So I do hope that you have some questions and some concerns and some criticisms, although nice ones, to share with us so that you can definitely have a conversation with all of us in terms of what you want to see changed in the food system relating to climate change. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. It's an honor for me to be here at the United Nations. You know, I grew up passing through this building wanting to even go in one day. So the fact that we're here, it's pretty special to me. And you know, I'm Chef Grace Ramirez. I'm a New Yorker. I've been here 15 years via Venezuela. My family's from Venezuela. And I'm very passionate about sustainability and raising awareness around this subject. I think that there's a lot of hope because you all have the power. We all have the power. And I think that, you know, when we go to these conferences and we see these things, we are very like, oh, what are we going to do? And I think that we need to be conscious that we must be the change we want to see in the world. And really take that, own that in our own little ways, and really focus on the fact that if you want to see global impact, you must act locally. You have all the power to do that, you know? And I get it. Everyone hears the word sustainability and it's overwhelming. But there's a lot of little things, little micro actions that you all can do to really make the difference. So first, I'm going to talk about seasonality. It's my favorite subject, right? So we must raise awareness of we must buy what's in season. It's not right for us to keep buying strawberries in the middle of winter. It comes from Chile. Like, it's really far. We need to start thinking what is available locally. I lived in New Zealand for 4 years. I went out, it was winter, and I wanted corn because I wanted to make a ceviche. And I'm like, it's traditional that it has corn. People looked at me like if I was crazy. They were like, there's no corn, it's not in season. You're crazy, it's frozen. Who wants frozen corn? So I started asking myself, because as an American, you don't even have that notion. You don't even have the notion that things are not in season. What does that mean? I can find basil in the middle of a blizzard. I can find pomegranates all year long. That's not right. It comes from very, very far away. And if we only make that shift, and if you don't want to download the app, if you don't want to look into the research, go to the farmer's market and see what's available. They'll let you know. Ask questions. You know, what's in season? And if you love strawberries that much, buy them, make a jam, and use it in the winter, you know? So we need to think about these two things that go hand in hand that are very simple, is seasonality and food preservation. I know, not that many people cook at home. I get it. I am like one of the few people in my group that cooks a lot all the time, like Hannah. I'm sure she feeds an army of people every day. But I'm gonna make you, we're gonna do basil 3 ways. No, we're gonna do, basil's over there. We're gonna do parsley. Sorry, I got very excited about this parsley, the basil over there. I didn't know that we had a garden here, sorry. But you know, parsley is something that you can literally grow all year round on a little countertop green garden, and it's so exciting. It's so beautiful. It's always there. And again, you can buy a whole bunch of it and store it. So I thought it would be fun to do parsley 3 ways. So we're gonna do, I'm gonna go fairly quickly because I want to give this lovely, and then I have to talk about hummus, which unites us.
Hummus.
Hummus. Hummus. I like saying hummus.
Okay.
You know, it's like, in Israel, people say hummus.
Yes.
Right?
We're neighbors. In Palestine, we say hummus.
Hummus.
So when it walked
Like
over to the other country,
Okay.
it is
So
hummus.
I will be like the Latin version of
Yes.
hummus.
You're the Latin, yes.
So I say hummus.
There you go.
So, okay. So it's little tricks that I want to show you that are going to make a whole world of difference. So garlic, it's a beautiful thing. It lasts a very long time on your countertop. And this is what you can do. And you can actually, you know, it takes a bit of planning. Oh, this is another thing. So you know that when you're at the UN, you're not supposed to have knives. That was another challenging part of cooking at the UN. And no heat. So we had to be very creative. Okay, so garlic, right? You can keep it on your countertop. And please do this at home. You're going to be so happy. It's going to be amazing. And this is the base of so many things. So you get your garlic, right? You need one of these in your life. Please, people, buy one of these. Buy a morel and pesto. It'll make you feel really good. It takes you back to how things were, very simple. Please don't buy that garlic that is all chopped up in water. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I swear that if you buy real stuff, you only need 3 ingredients. You need salt, you need pepper, you need garlic, well, maybe like 5. You need 5 ingredients. You need salt, you need pepper, you need lemon juice, you need olive oil, and you need garlic. So garlic, this is how you can do it. I'll do it really quick. So it doesn't jump around everywhere. Always put salt, a little bit of olive oil, and mash it. And then that's going to be your base for a lot of things. A good chimichurri, which is an amazing herby, parsley, garlicky, lemony sauce, uses garlic this way. It doesn't taste the same if you don't do this. It also deals with your stress. So, you know, you're going to be so happy. You're like climate change, people. Raise awareness. So it's like, so then you just mash it like that. It looks beautiful, you know, and only this, you can literally put it on top of fish and it's beautiful. You can put it on top of your veggies and it's beautiful. Also, roast any kind of vegetables. Roast them in the oven. You put olive oil, salt, pepper, roast them, and then it will be amazing. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you first, you know, you mash your garlic, boom, and then you're going to have parsley. I can't chop anything, so I'm going to do it with my hands because there's no knife, but it doesn't matter. So you get your chopped parsley, right? You only need a few ingredients. Invest
More
in a
salt.
good quality sea salt, please. You need that in your life. If you don't have a good quality sea salt in your life, not good, guys. Not good. No, I swear, because very little goes a long way, and you're going to get that texture and you're going to get that crunch, which it makes a whole world of difference. Because when you have texture, you get very excited. Your palate just wakes up and is very, very happy. So have you noticed that when you have like really food that doesn't have layers of flavor or any texture, you get really bored and like you're like, you don't want that. It's always about layers of flavors and texture. Those 2 things you need. That's why it's so exciting to have herbs on top or have, you know, when a pomegranate is in season, it makes me so happy. You add pomegranate on top and it's just beautiful. And then you're gonna see. So then you literally do this. You can do it with a hand blender or you can chop this. And then this will be that and then a little bit of white wine vinegar, chili flakes if you like them, a little bit of oregano, and you have chimichurri, which you're gonna taste in a bit.
It's amazing.
This keeps on your countertop for weeks. This has enough acidity in there and enough balance that they will keep for a very long time. So there you go. And then this, you can put it on top of your fish, you can put it on top of your salad, you can put it on top of your vegetables. And this is a perfect dressing. You just need to give it a little stir every time you're going to use it, full of flavor. So you're going to have to take that. So that's chimichurri first. Then we made with parsley, same concept here, but I'm not going to do that because I want to give this lovely lady, she She needs to make her tabbouleh because it's epic. And then we have to finish with the hummus, and then it'll be like a feast. So, again, I do this a lot. It takes a little bit of planning, but you'll be so happy when this stuff is in the fridge or in your countertop, because then that's all you need. A protein or a vegetable, whatever kind of protein you like, you put this on top, you're happy. And if you like fish, I like fish. I buy sustainable fish. Ask questions. What's local? Where does it come from? You know, if you usually, I know farmers market are very expensive. I get it. I know.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Here, especially in the States, it's so expensive to buy in a farmer's market. But investing, you have to invest sometimes a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way. You know, and I understand it's expensive, but we need to start, again, being really conscious about how much we're eating, what we're eating, and food preservation. Don't ever toss it. So, just another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, while she makes this, I'm going to prep this so you guys can eat it. So I literally roast all my veggies. These are radishes. Radishes make me very happy. And when you roast them, they get caramelized. So they get really, really sweet.
They look like red potatoes.
They're like potatoes, but even more nutritious, because they have, you know, potatoes. If you're on a diet, you don't want to eat that many potatoes.
Yes.
But radishes, you can eat as many as you want. Yeah, you can go crazy on, just go crazy on the radishes. But this is another little trick that I have for you guys that before we send it to Hannah, I want to show you. So I made here, because I didn't have basil, made it without basil, but you should add basil. So this is just a pesto. So the pesto just has parsley, garlic, olive oil, and salt. If, oh, I made too much, put it on this and freeze it. And then when you make pasta, you put it on top, you put it on your pasta, literally take it out of the freezer, into the pasta, and it would melt. The ice will melt in the sauce. And because you have to put it right away, because it's going to be really hot, it's going to be really steamy. So you just go like that, you put cheese on top if you're not vegan, or, I know, it's complicated. But you can put a little bit of cheese, you can put some pine nuts in there, some walnuts, and it will be beautiful. So that's my, so chimi, and then if you add mint, you can have a mint chimichurri. So just put a bunch of mint. So while I plate this, because we're gonna have some beets, roasted beets, right? Which are delicious.
Amazing.
And you know, I roast everything. And most of the veggies, if the skin is not too tough, you can eat it. You don't even have to peel it. So I don't peel my butternut squash. I literally do this when I'm making hummus. It's beautiful, it's nice to roast. Or if I cut it into wedges, I eat it with the skin on. But this is butternut squash. It has a soft skin. If the skin is so soft, it's too tough, you do want to peel it. But I'll show you how to do the hummus last. But go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef Grace. It is really an honor to be standing in the same space as you. I'm so honored
get in
because
there.
of all and
You want to get in here? Yeah. Lovely ladies. This is amazing.
And our Lean in
First
Kitchen
female.
connection,
Sorry, guys.
honestly, it was the most beautiful day when I met her. I met her on the phone all the way from California. Googled some kitchen stuff because I'm a personal chef. She came up, talked to her. She said, I'm in New York. If you ever come to New York, let's do something. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this amazing project. It's called My Healing Table. I'll tell you all about it. So she kicked it off for me at NYU with my Israeli friend Itamar, and that's how Healing Table is traveling now. So I thank you. You are amazing, and I'm so honored to always be included in your amazing projects. I want to thank everyone involved.
We didn't plan that at all. No, really, it sounded sarcastic, but we really didn't. And I'm honored to be a part of your journey, and I'm honored to have you be a part of mine. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Many more, inshallah.
Before I turn it over to Hanan, I just wanted to say I have a surprise for you.
Yay.
For all of us,
we
or
have
just for the audience?
for all of you. We have a chef joining us from Nigeria.
Oh.
Yay! She's online on our platform.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, say hi. She's there.
Hi.
Say hi,
Hi,
Nikem.
Chef. Hi,
Nikem.
Hi, Nikem.
So, in the meantime, if those of you want to do a really simple 30-second to 1-minute recipe, you're welcome to come up to the screen. and she'll guide you through something. I know Eunice has like been waiting for this.
Yeah, Eunice.
forever. So you can do that, and she'll guide you through this recipe, and you can taste something really quickly. But Hanan has such a nice story to share with us, I'm sure.
Many, but I'll.
Many?
I don't know. I'll pick one, maybe.
You pick as many as you want. You have so many.
Thank you so much.
I will turn it over to her and have her guide us through her amazing recipe as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. I know it's a Saturday, beautiful day in New York, but you all are so involved in this initiative, and I'm so proud to be among you to be part of this initiative as well. My name is Hanan Rashid. You know, they call me chef. I'm going to tell you, yeah, I can cook. And so I have 5 amazing children. One of them is sitting right there. And I have soon to be 9 grandkids. So I was born in a village in the West Bank in a beautiful, I still call it village. They don't like me to call it village because it has a lot of beautiful homes, big homes and everything. But I still like to call it village because when I left in 1973, I was 14. I left the West Bank at the age of 14 and I came to the US. When I arrived to the US, like everybody else, at that time there was no way of me calling my mom or looking a recipe. I didn't speak English. I didn't have any support. So I would sit, well, I cried for a few years. And then I said, you know, my American dream from the age of 9 was to come to America. And I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to quit. So my best option is to learn America. And how I can make myself comfortable in America away from my family was by the food. So I learned how to cook from memory how my mother's food tasted. Did it have garlic? Did it have onion? A few years, probably like throughout everything, and it didn't taste as well. But that's how you learn, you know. There is no right or wrong way. If you have a palate and you know your food, you can cook. And so I learned how to cook to survive in America and to feed my 5 kids. Later on, I started doing food to connect people together. Again, I'm a Palestinian. There's a conflict, and I don't like the conflict. I mean, we're neighbors with the Israeli country and the Israelis, and I wanted to show and bring the 2 people to one table so they can break bread together, you know, and just sit and look at each other as humans. Food does humanize people, you know. And so I created an amazing project called My Healing Table. And My Healing Table does bring the 2 people together at one table. And I usually choose one Israeli guy chef because the conflict in Palestine and Israel, it's not just a woman, you know, conflict. It involves everyone. And so we cook up a storm, and we did one at NYU with Kitchen Connections help. And I've done one at FSCJ. In NYU, I had Itamar, who was an NYU student who cooked up with me the shakshuka. And in FSCJ, I had Shai, the pickle guy from Florida. And then I did a TEDx talking about how I created this table to bring people together through food. So that's that. Going back to this initiative, again, I was born in a village, so we had everything outside. We had the garden, the orchards. My father had orchards of all the fruits. We had the vegetables. So we would go out and pick things up and make the salad. My mom would say, hey, Hanan, go get me like a tomato and some, you know, garlic from the garden. And we'd come in and we cook it. Now, at that time, we really thought we were poor because we were eating the fresh stuff from our garden, while my girlfriends at school would say our parents took us to a restaurant in the city. And I'm like, why can't we go to a restaurant in the city? Oh my God, we're poor. And look at this now. The elites, and like Chef Grace said, farm to table is so expensive. It's switched around, but we need to bring it back. We need to, I know it takes a lot of time and a lot of planning, and I'm used to seeing everything in season. We've never, like Chef Grace, we were talking about it, her and I, the other day. I've never seen a peach in January. So my father had orchards, and he would ask people to bring their baskets, and every season, every Friday, we would go up to his orchards and pick up the plums in May, we would wait so patiently. I love figs. We only see figs in Palestine in August. We only see grapes in July. We don't see any of that frozen stuff, extra preservatives, all that. And you know, I'll tell you, people there with conflict and a war-torn country, but within their community in the village, there's bonding. And there's a circle of amazing people and amazing women that create this food for all the people. There's seasons where we're like, there's a jam season, and it's not like jam like for you young people. It's to preserve the jam in mason jars. Like my aunts and everybody would come to my father's house, and the moms would be downstairs singing, you know, making their own poetry and talking, and we make the jam, they'll make the pickles. There's a harvest for the olives in November. We know what season it is, and every season in my village had a ritual where the children are there dancing and singing, and they're feeding us, and we're tasting the food. So I grew up with that. So I try to keep that as much as I can with my kids and my grandkids. A lot of this that you see is available. You can do it very easily. And I have so many amazing Palestinian dishes that I wanted to feed you guys all, but I chose one. So I chose tabbouleh today. And tabbouleh is made of parsley, tomatoes, onions, and the burghul, the cracked wheat. So this is made in my village. They harvest that. They have a ritual. They have a whole like event, and they all get together. They pick it, they dry it, they crack it, and they leave it for the same with the cheese. The same with the semna, the ghee, everything. Anything you want, you will find in my village all through the whole year. But it's because it was preserved from season to season. So the mint actually is all the way from my village from Palestine.
Yeah, can you?
The sumac, and I gave Chef Grace the za'atar. So we do that. We still bring our stuff. As Palestinians, I think all immigrants do the same, not just the Palestinians. When you come to America, you bring all your favorite foods to make you feel at home, because you feel nostalgic. You know, I want to create that smell that was in my mother's house, the way it tastes. It takes me back. And it makes me sometimes sad that I missed on all that, but I'm trying to create it for my kids and my grandkids. So today my tabbouleh, thank you guys. So tabbouleh, it has garlic too. You wash your parsley, very, very important. Wash it, shake it, pick the bad parts, cut the stems, and just have the leaves and dry them on like a tray or a tablecloth. Let them dry. Once they dry, you cut them. There is no right or wrong way. Don't listen to anyone. You want them as a whole leaf, you put them as a whole leaf. You want them fine, you chop them fine. I went medium. You know, we say khairul umur wasatuha, the best is to be in the middle, so I went to the middle. And then you cut up your tomatoes, any tomatoes you like. I have heirloom tomatoes for you. You cut up onions. I have red onions, green onions, and garlic, as my beautiful chef said here. You can mince your garlic in this beautiful thing. And then I'm going to assemble it for you. Once you have everything ready, this is your mise en place. With anything you cook, it's always recommended to have your mise en place, which means have everything ready so you won't go to your cupboard. So you grab, you guys, now that you cut up everything and you're ready, you have your music on too. I can't work without music, but it's okay. You put your parsley as much as you want. And I'm a person, people ask me for the recipe, and I get so tormented thinking that they think I'm lying. I'm like, I can't, because I never measured. And so when I measure, it doesn't come out right, I swear. You know, so don't let anybody tell you. Use your taste, use your feeling, connect with your food. We do actually pray before we start making our food. That's traditional. You're supposed to cleanse your body, take a shower, and we do pray before we start the food. And you have to, I believe, like if the chef is kind and generous, the food comes out better. If you're an angry chef, your food is going to come out bitter. I think so. Don't you agree, Chef Grace?
I know a lot of angry chefs.
I mean, around the food.
I know a lot of them.
Yeah, around their meat will never get done. You could cook it forever. We're not having any meat today. It's vegetarian, I promise. But you do your parsley, then I put the tomatoes. Again, as much as you want. You want it all to be parsley? Hey, more power to you. You want to put a lot of, I love the way the tomatoes look.
Sure.
I put my, and then, you know, previously, because as the good, I put scallions, and I put green, and I put red. I love onions. It's good for your blood, they say. I mean, you're going to smell, but too bad. And then we had to prepare things because we can't have knives, but I love my mason jars. My daughter, we have like boxes and boxes of mason jars in their houses. We drink out of them, we serve out of them, we can in them. So I put in here garlic already cut, lemon, and olive oil. And so I'm gonna put my mixture.
Next trays.
See, I don't measure.
Yeah. So you're gonna put this.
And this is my cute little olive oil.
And a little mint.
And salt, like that Turkish chef where he throws salt and he doesn't know what he's doing. I still want to meet him. I don't want to be on his bad side. I think he's...
Maybe he's watching us.
Oh, I would love to have a cookout with him. Palestinian Turkey, like her and I are doing, she's, I say, she's Venezuelan and I'm Palestinian. I said, let's do Pali Latin.
One leaf.
Pali Latin. And then your most, and some people just throw a little bit. I know the Lebanese have it really crunchy. They just wash it with cold water. Today I washed it, I just ran it in a colander through under cold water. Some people say, leave your burgul all night. I'm like, no, then it becomes kippe. You need this as like just something crunchy. So I ran it through cold water, let it dry, not too much soggy. And then I put the dry mint that I just got from Palestine. And then before we came, I just put a little bit of lemon so it can, you know, open it up a little bit because it's very crunchy. So inshallah, it's going to be yummy. You guys are going to be my food critics. And be honest. I like honesty. I don't like fakeness. If it doesn't taste good, just send it back.
I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Do you know how many parsley bunches I cut up?
How many?
50.
50.
So we have a lot. So we have a lot.
So make sure you eat a lot of it.
So ask for seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
That looks amazing.
Do you want to be my?
You know, I do.
Where is my little Alex girl? Where's my? Come here, chef.
She's helping me.
Is she? Can I borrow her?
Yeah, you can borrow her.
Please. I mean, you can try it too,
Yeah,
chef.
I want to try it.
Here, chef. I want you to be. Let's
You know,
get the
but
chef.
I think they want to know a couple of things. You know, when
What?
you're making tabbouleh, first of all, if you don't have a sharp knife, guys, the herbs will go black.
Yes.
So make sure you have a sharp knife.
See my parsley is green.
Green and bright. So if it's not sharp
Let
enough,
me taste it first because
yeah,
you might.
go
You're
ahead.
too honest. You might spit it
Go
out.
ahead.
Let me.
I don't know. I think they should ask you a question about tabbouleh because tabbouleh is one of those things that looks very, very simple, but it's not. I mean, there's a couple of tricks that you need in order to have that beautiful tabbouleh.
Well, the trick is the one you said. Thank you for mentioning that. Is to make sure that you have your sharp knife and go only once. If you want it tiny, then tighten up on your hold on the bunch and go. If you start on the herbs, they go black and they start moist. You don't do that with any, especially not the basil. The basil totally. You have to.
Mint too.
Right. Yeah, mint too. But this one, you just go. You want it medium. You go. Your hand moves, away from the knife. Bigger. You want it small.
Okay.
Then you
Could
do
you
small.
make tabbouleh in a blender?
No, or a food processor. No, I swear
It's
to
by
God,
hand.
and Nadia is my witness. I was up till 12 in the morning last night after Chef and I did all the stuff in the afternoon. And I sat there and I'm like, how many more bunches? And my granddaughter would say, Tata, there's 20 more still left. I'm like, Aliyah, please, somebody help me. But I got
people
to
will
it.
get the electric blender and and then you see
Then it'd be
never.
pesto.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
But a lot of people don't know that.
Listen, I love feeding people, and I love people, and I love showing my food to you guys. That's how I want you to learn about my country, my village, about me, to connect with me through my food. So when I did the 50 bunches and 15 pounds of tomatoes, I did 100 lemons at your house. I went home and I did another 50, and still I'm running.
I know, but wait, there's a lot of, I'm sure, there's a lot of issues about tabbouleh that I love to bring.
You want all the secrets, right?
No, because people are gonna make it at home and they're not gonna get that experience, and then they're gonna be upset.
Be honest, okay?
Okay.
Oh, I have to wait.
Tell them about tomatoes.
The tomatoes.
You can't have all that water.
Well, the tomatoes, I concassate. you do concassate, which is you put them in hot water and salt very quickly, and then you take the skin out. But I don't like taking the skin out. I think all the vitamins in it. But I took the seeds out. When you open the tomato, you bring your little spoon and you take all the seeds out, and you could save them for other stuff. I have in her refrigerator a big thing of seeds. And
So you can use it for pasta, but therefore, if you don't have the tomatoes, if you get all that water in there, it'll be
soggy. Yes.
You don't want that.
And
You
this
don't want soggy tabule.
Yeah. So
not good, guys.
The herbs have to be dry and before it's cut.
Yes, very important because
yes.
now they stick everywhere.
Exactly.
It will stick on your knife. It will stick on your board.
Yes,
it will
and
be
you don't
good.
even have to, Chef Grace, even cut them. Some people I see, like in Lebanon, they just take their parsley, which I love, the Lebanese food. I have 3 Lebanese grandkids, so I have to give them a shout out too. And so in Lebanon, they really don't cut it. They just take the herbs, just get rid of the stems and put it like that. And then, yeah.
How
And
amazing
then
is
if you
that?
want to make it pretty, you can add sumac, because I love sumac.
Me too, I
And
love
you can, here, oh, I forgot to make it pretty for you because you're pretty. You didn't tell me what you think. Come on. Say, Okay, there we go. And pomegranates, as she said, by the way, in my village, everybody in front of their house, they have every tree. Pomegranate, figs, olives, everything. So we save them, we dry them as they are, and we use them. But we got these from Whole Foods yesterday. So it's so, the traditional way to eat this, now remember, you're talking about villages and they don't have all this to-go stuff and all the.
You like it?
But this is the way to eat the right way. If you want to impress a Palestinian,
I always
a
want to
Lebanese, a
impress
Syrian,
people. So what do I have to do?
you
Oh,
do.
just like that. Okay,
Look, I'm gonna make it pretty for you. Like, yeah.
It's very sexy.
Just like you, chef.
I mean, look at this. It's like
I call her my sexy chef. And that's how you eat it. If you want to impress someone, like when you go out to a restaurant or they come over and they're like, from the Middle East, this is the specialty of Palestine, Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, because we're like that one area. You don't find that in other places, but we're like the one area. We eat the same. So that's how you eat it. This is your spoon. Sahtain, as we say.
Amen.
And so going back to my healing table, cheers to you, love. Going back to my healing table, I always choose to do the shakshuka because I like to show the similarities between us and our cousins.
Can you help me make hummus?
Yeah.
You have to help.
My hummus is a killer, I
Hummus.
swear.
No.
Ask Nadia. Right, Nadia?
No, I'm sure your hummus is epic, but I have a version of hummus that I want to show you.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a competition here.
No,
it's a collaboration.
No,
Okay.
no, never. Chefs
I mean,
never.
Venezuela,
No, here.
Palestina.
Listen.
Come on.
I
Really?
already told you I loved you from the moment I saw you, so cut it out, enough.
No.
So this is, if you guys, we have so much, correct, girls? I don't know if they gave you, we have so much.
Okay. Sorry. Up to now, do you have any questions? Does anyone want to know anything? Sure. Sure. You don't need to. I mean, you can because we're Americans, but in Argentina they leave it out. It has enough acid in there that you don't need to refrigerate. I mean, unless it's 110 degrees, but if it's room temp, you will be fine. Yes.
Alaikum salam.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. You want to try some? I can't wait.
I'm sure. I mean, you have a very important question.
Oh, I'm so
kind
sorry.
Of difficult
Can you say it again? We have them, we plant them, but we thank you guys for really bringing them to us. we love our people from Mexico. So
you have to think about the fact that, it is
everything
like
travels.
that. And
it travels. When people travel, they take their food with them. Look, she's doing hummus. She's Latina and she's doing hummus because as we people travel, we bring a piece of us and we start inviting our friends and we share it and now everybody knows our food.
Yes, I want to introduce myself. Thank you for being here. My name, maybe the mic.
Hi. You want to come? Okay, you're going
to... Arlene has the mic. Arlene has the mic.
Close because we are all one
Wait,
family.
does it work?
Yes.
My name is Manal Al-Alim.
Okay, there you go.
This
I
is
mean, nice, now that we're really
amazing.
close, nice to meet
Yes,
you.
that's
okay.
right.
Are you going to help me make hummus? Because we don't have
Yes,
much time.
I will, I will.
Make sure we get through this recipe.
Yes, yes, please make hummus.
Okay.
I just arrived from Dubai. I live in Dubai.
أهلاً
I'm a TV
وسهلاً.
chef.
أهلاً
أهلاً
وسهلاً.
وسهلاً.
I know you.
You know me.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I actually DM'd you.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
It's a
thank
family,
you.
guys.
I said that's why I want to jump here and say hi for everyone. And
أهلاً
also,
وسهلاً أخت
I'm
منال.
a partner with the World
أهلاً
Food
حبيبتي.
Programs and the Chef Manifestos also. I will help you.
You have to help me now. You're on
What?
stage.
Now you are. Where is the hummus?
I am going to
هي
make it for you.
هي عاملة الحمص بالكوسة.
بالكوسة. Wow,
أيوة.
this is
Okay,
amazing.
listen,
Yeah, this is good
I
idea.
know that hummus, hummus. Well, it's a very
Hummus,
sensitive subject.
لا.
No, but
In
we
the
share.
middle.
Yeah, you can do
I know.
it.
It's but
We share.
but we're sharing.
That's
So
why.
this
We
is
are
my
proud to
version,
share our
my,
food
my
with the
humble
world.
version. This is my humble version of trying to be
Hummus.
sustainable and seasonal. So
Wow.
this is butternut squash that I previously roasted. They're in
Wow.
season as fall, and so you can eat butternut squash just like this. Has just olive oil and salt. That's it. Once you roast it, so roasting high heat produces caramelization. Therefore, you get that sweetness. Did you all like the radishes and the beets? See, people love boiling vegetables.
Yeah,
I don't
why?
understand that. You get very little flavor. I mean,
You
I
strip
understand
all the
certain things.
nutritions too.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Roast. So there, here. So then you can. Do you want?
There you go, guys.
Do you want to do this, or you want me to do it?
No, just because I'm not really
Oh,
ready
you have
for
a
that.
you
Yes,
have
I
a
think-
Balenciaga
Yeah.
sweatshirt, so I get it. So literally, just get the flesh out, and this is not traditional at all.
You get the heart.
But I do a
Sahte.
bean-less hummus. So it's
No,
a
just
I know
rinse
they're
it.
like
This is
horrified.
okay.
But it's a great snack. A lot of people have very hard time digesting beans. I have a very hard time digesting beans personally. It's very tough for me. So this is my version of, I love hummus, and I did this version just so I can satisfy that craving. I love snacking.
good idea.
So,
Okay, yeah.
so this is for me a great snack to have, and we're gonna serve it with plantain chips,
So yummy.
yuca chips.
So yummy.
Not
Very
from the
creative
area, but I'm
chef.
Latin,
Yeah.
so I kind of
She
need
made
them.
it Latin. See, she took the hummus all
And
the way
I Latinified it.
and Latinified it.
Latinified hummus.
Yes. You
Yeah,
know,
amen.
let me tell you, in my TEDx talk, I said hummus is going to bring harmony and bring people together.
Amen.
I saw a
Hey,
movie
that's
the other
really what-
day.
You see?
I wasn't going to see the movie. I didn't like the title, but my Israeli friends, Hanan, you have to go see the movie. It connects with your TEDx. It's like you were talking to these producers, and they were bringing the Palestinians and Israelis, even the people on the checkpoints, through hummus. And I'm like, Alhamdulillah,
yeah.
my hummus is bringing peace.
So Latinos were very friendly. So we like to be like, we like to one people, one
To be
world.
all
Yeah,
one
yeah.
It's all
family,
good.
all
One
world,
family.
Yeah, we are
one-
too.
No
Yeah,
conflict. Let's just make some hummus.
Listen, I did
Listen.
not ask for the conflict, ladies. So
Yeah.
I'd be the first one to say, let's end all conflicts, bring people to one table, let us feed people.
Let's-
Why
yeah,
is food
that's
only for the
right, yeah.
elite? Food needs to be for everybody. It is God's given, right? Wallahi,
And,
it's like the people.
Tahina
don't
is
people-
very
why are people
important.
hungry?
Very
also.
important.
Very healthy and very
Okay, so
nutrition,
tahini.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Tahini, yeah.
It's like a gift from the gods.
Yes.
Sesame
seeds
oil.
are
It's,
everything. I
And
mean,
they're
they're
good
so
for
good
you.
for you.
They're very good for you.
They're very
You
good.
know, I put
Talk to me about tahini.
I put sesame oil on my face. You know, like how you young women put the coconut oil? No,
Yes,
sesame
you
oil.
can put
That's
on
why
your
your skin
face,
looks
yeah?
like that. You see, lady, you see people were here like, we
You know why
got
my skin
face-
looks like that? Because I don't hold anything in my heart.
Okay.
Oh,
Wallahi.
And sesame oil.
Yes.
Both.
But if I
No.
have a thing, I'm sensitive, so but once you could do whatever, and then you look at me and you say, hi, Hanan, I forget right away. I
Okay,
asked my
perfect.
spiritual
There's your
leaders,
trick.
I said, is that like a naive thing? Like, I feel bad
No,
about
it's
myself.
not.
I
This is the
forget
correct
easily.
thing.
Guys,
He said,
let's
that's
focus.
a gift.
Let's focus.
Okay, focus on
We
face.
need
Focus
to
on
finish
face.
this. You have three very passionate women on stage. You get fed, but you know, we will talk a lot.
Under the
course.
UN
Under the,
umbrella.
no
Yeah.
problem. Okay, so tahini, beautiful thing. Just add it in there. It will be beautiful. And all you need is 1 garlic. I just do a little garlic. I know that some people like a lot of garlic.
One is enough. Yeah,
I
just to
tasted it. I
give the
tasted it.
taste,
It was
yeah.
Okay,
beautiful.
thank God.
Moderation is best.
Moderation.
Anything you make, moderation is best. And if you're not sure about your recipe, I mean, you watch us.
خلاص.
خلاص, she said. You watch us
I
just
like
to
your
get
Arabic.
on the right road. But how it tastes and how it should be cooked, it should be your personal preference. Like, I can cook with another chef from Palestine, maybe my sister. I can cook with my sister the same recipe. It does not come out the same. It's your chemistry. It's your heart. It's your willingness to want to be. إحنا العرب, generosity is a it's
very
generosity.
etiquette,
It's
yeah.
love for people, love for food, appreciation, being grateful. All of those are my seasonings, I think.
Okay.
She's gonna say stop talking.
Let's
Sharing
focus here.
food
I'm
sharing love.
focused. I'm giving you time to finish
No,
your
yeah,
homework.
you're right, you're right. No, you need a whole lot of passion first and foremost, and you need all the love.
Yes.
But I want to make sure you get through these recipes because it's going to
You
change
need
your
more.
life, guys.
You guys need
so
more?
it's going to be amazing.
Give
so
me that. That's-
here we have
Give me that.
roasted
The pot.
butternut squash. We have
Yeah.
the tahini. We have 1 garlic clove. We have olive oil. Lemon juice.
Lemon juice, yes.
That's
Plate.
all we need.
Alexandra, the plate, the whole
Fresh lemon juice.
Fresh.
preferred.
Please,
Yes.
guys, don't buy those
Of
jar
course,
things.
don't buy the.
Don't buy the
Let me
jars.
make it for you.
And you know what? Lemon juice freezes very well.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it freezes amazing. So if you buy a bunch of lemon when they're in season, just, do your little jar, divide them, because this is what happened to me once. Sometime I did it.
Wanna mix
I
it?
froze this whole thing, and then I have to use the whole thing, so I made margaritas for everyone.
Trying to mix
But,
it. You can have some color in there.
but,
Mix it.
yeah, there was a whole lot of margaritas. But, yeah, just make sure you divide them
mix
in
it
little
so they don't have
jars.
this,
Like
parsley.
this is best. And then freeze
This
them.
is
So,
amazing.
Oh my
Okay.
God, I am so happy. I can't believe it. I watch you and I listen to you and
Yes.
I love the
5
way where
minutes.
you do. 'Cause
Guys,
you
we have 5 minutes.
focus
We need to get
again.
through this.
Oh my God.
We need to get through this. So you blend. We can have a conversation later. You blend, and it's done. And then it will be like this. Just so we finish it off, and you guys can eat some.
Yeah, خلاص.
And
She
this
said
will
خلاص.
be like this.
It's really, really yummy.
Beautiful,
It's
been
really-
done.
I think
then
for the people who
the
don't
texture
eat like
is really the
beans
same. You
or
cannot-
don't like some people on the diet, they
Wow,
don't eat
wow,
like the
wow.
beans.
Wait. We're gonna.
So this
I'm gonna
is
finish
a
this
way of
off.
substituting
Wait,
it from
where
the
is the
garbanzo
stomach?
beans.
Where is the stuff?
Where
Guys,
is
help
She
me
wants
finish.
to
I'm
map.
helping
helping
you.
you.
5 minutes.
I'm helping you.
Okay, here, finish. Here,
What do you mean
let's
to do?
focus.
I am.
Finish, and
You
then
want to do
we'll
this
boom.
on it? Okay, so
Yes.
sumac from Der Dubuan, Palestine. Woo!
Woohoo!
Just sprinkle.
Yeah.
And that's really, really made from my cousin. She has her micro business that she ships to us everything. And za'atar. Oh my God, this is za'atar.
Oh, za'atar.
It's amazing. Look at that. We need a picture of this.
We do.
This is, hey, wait. This is the
do.
Palestinian Latina.
You see? Boom.
There it is.
There it is. One world.
Ooh.
Wait,
One
but we're
world, one
missing.
dish.
But this is why it's
Pomegranate,
Palestinian.
pomegranate.
We need the pepitas.
Okay, here. You're going to pepita.
Celebrate,
Do you
you
want-
know, the Latinos in us.
You
Yeah.
want pomegranate?
Thank you, and the pomegranate.
Where is
Yes.
your pomegranate?
Here.
Here's-
Oh my
Look at
God.
this. How beautiful.
Look.
Can someone please take a photo?
The person who did that
This is
yesterday,
the
they
very
need to be
nice touch.
commended.
Yeah, you did that. you.
I
you
was
did a whole lot of that.
Watch. I was helping her.
We need a photo with the hummus that is uniting us all.
Please,
Wait,
Come on, guys.
everybody take for us one
Come on,
picture.
darling, darling,
Please
darling.
take photo. And please,
Photo op.
Instagram, please. Yeah, put it on your Instagram,
what's your
and
Instagram?
mention
What is your Instagram?
Manal Al-Alim.
What is your Instagram?
Manal,
Hanan Rashid. Hanan Rashid or Healing Table.
A-L-A-L-E-M.
Or you could do my healing table.
Yes, you can do healing table, then we will share it all together.
And
My
then
healing table.
add Chef Grace Ramirez.
Yes.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank you. Thank
my
you so
God.
much. Wow.
We're gonna make more of this.
Yeah.
This is gonna travel everywhere.
Of course it is.
Oh my God, I want to talk to you more.
Okay, we're gonna
Gonna
serve
talk
you
to you
guys.
about the.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you for joining us. We had a guest appearance.
A chef all the way from Dubai. Woo!
Thank you, everybody.
What happened? And we're also going to be passing out Chef Naken's dish, which is coming out of there, and we're going to be passing a whole lot of hummus out of here.
Look how much
so don't
she
leave
had.
without eating. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Grace.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You guys get to try this on the plantain chips?
Yeah, the plantain chips and yuca chips. Boom.
Oh my God, I'm taking some. Oh, where were you?
Fusion food. This is true fusion.
Look, Zach, you're gonna get this.
And you
Just
can have
beautiful.
this, and then you can have some of this.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to eat the food, and I'm going to have my lunch.
Ooh.
So what did we learn? We learned that transforming our food systems isn't just imperative. It's also fun.
Yes.
It's delicious. And it's the right thing to do. And it's something that all of you can do. All of you are walking away today with a new tool in your pocket to help change the world. So thanks so much for joining us. And thanks, chefs.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks a lot. And all the best for the coming week.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. Gracias.
Look, you got the
Buen
whole...
provecho. Enjoy.
Sahten, yes. You eat it.
That's amazing.
Okay, whoever wants, I have so much. We need to eat. Bring your plate. Did you get some?
Yeah, eat first and seconds and everything.
Oh, okay. Picture and then... Tali. Where's your hummus?
No, they're serving it.
Travis. He's busy eating. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go for it. The paparazzi are here. I love that. Do we have parsley in our teeth? Yeah! Good job. You want some tabbouleh?
Yes.
Sahten. Yeah, we're staying. I'm not going anywhere.
My pleasure.
How was it?
Fun.
You're the
Right?
best. You're the best. Oh my God! We want a picture with you. Listen, guys, I need people to send me these pictures. How am I going to go hold of you?
Yeah.
I'll give you my phone number.
You know how fun it is.
I'll give you my email, hananrashid@gmail.
Yeah.
HANANRASHEED. Yes, I'll be honored.
Just
Let's go.
Wait.
Over here,
wait.
Chef.
First,
First.
this photo.
Sorry. Come.
Wait. Okay. First, this photo.
Okay.
And
Then
now
this photo.
Mhm.
Come.
Yep.
Oh, who's taking this one?
Who's
Who's
yeah.
taking this one? Come on. Come on.